Welcome everybody from IWRA. Today our webinar is focused on, it's called the Road to Beijing, Pathways for Youth at the World Water Congress. We thank you again for joining us today. We have a great panelist of speakers, a lot of young faces, the next generation, I will say, of our workforce of the water sector. So we're really grateful to have them on here and to have this webinar. Thanks to those who are joining us amongst Stockholm World Water Week. I know there's lots of attending that event, so we're so grateful for those making time for our webinar today. This webinar is hosted again by IWRA. We are a network of researchers and practitioners who work on a multidisciplinary range in the water resources issues for those who are joining us new. This platform provides global knowledge-based forum for bridging disciplines across geographies, and by connecting these professionals, many students who we have here today, individuals, corporations, and institutions who are concerned with the world's water resources. Again, the theme will be on young professionals at the World Water Congress in Beijing, which is happening in just a few weeks. We're all getting ready for our travels. The IWRA supports the advancement of knowledge and capacity of the next generation working in the water sector. A few ways IWRA supports young professionals is through its early career professional task force, which we will have a presentation for today. We also have a mentored publishing program. We have awards dedicated to the young professionals in the field, World Water Envoys, a few of them joining us as speakers today, and we also have the World Water Congress Rapporteur experience. At this year's Congress, IWRA intends to see young professionals not only attend the Congress, but to see them take home and implement newfound water knowledge into their communities and also workplaces. In order to support this mission, IWRA is hosting this webinar to ensure that young professionals are able to navigate specific events and opportunities that are tailored for their career development while at the Congress. Today's topics will include an overview of the IWRA Early Career Task Force, a presentation on youth-led sessions to attend while at the Congress. We'll also have the role of young rapporteurs at the Congress. And additional presentations include the 2023 World Water Envoys, as well as the 2022 World Water Envoys. To just give a brief synopsis of our webinar today so you know what to expect, we'll have presentations from each of our speakers on those presentations mentioned. And then at the end, we'll have about 20 minutes to address all of your questions. So please put your questions in the Q&A box, and any chat that you have or any comments, please feel free to put them in the chat box. But we'll be fielding all of the questions to the Q&A box. With that in mind, I'd like to turn over the floor to our first speaker, Renee Martin-Nagel, who is an IWRA project officer, treasurer, and at the International Water Resources Association. She's also the co-chair for the International Scientific Community for the World Water Congress. Renee, the floor is over to you.
Hi, thanks, Lindsay, and hello, everyone. As Lindsay said, I'm the treasurer of the International Water Resources Association, and for this Congress, I'm also the co-chair of the International Scientific Committee, which is extremely involved in planning the program for the Congress. So Lindsay asked me to speak with you a little bit about what we expect from the Congress and what we hope to see. This is our 18th World Water Congress. The first one was in 1973. We've been in, and it's always sponsored by some country somewhere in the world. We've been on every continent. We organize the World Water Congresses as part of our mission of bridging science and policy. So we say that we are where the world's water experts meet. And so we meet in person at these congresses and other events, but the congresses are a big thing. And this year, we're especially thrilled to be collaborating with the Chinese Ministry of Water Resources. They have been just wonderful to work with. And so the Congress will be in Beijing, as you've heard. And we're expecting a really full program. We've got almost 1,000 people registered to be there. There's 75 special sessions, 13 side events, a large exhibition hall, and also, as you'll hear more fully shortly, the World Water Envoy program, which encourages young people to be involved in water and in the Congress. And I'm anxious to hear from all of these people myself. The theme of this Congress is water for all, harmony between humans and nature. And at this point where biodiversity is under increasing threat, I can't think of a more important theme for the world's water experts to meet and discuss how to address these issues. There are 6 sub-themes, and so each of the presentations will be within one of these sub-themes, and I'll list them for you. Water, human, economy, ecology nexus in a changing environment, promoting water efficiency, productivity, and services, building resilience for disaster prevention and mitigation, supporting aquatic ecosystem health and function, establishing sustainable water infrastructures, and innovation for water governance and management. So we hope that we will see you at our Congress and keep in mind these themes that may interest you as you decide how to plan your time there. And no organization can survive for long unless it encourages younger people to step up and take over. The International Water Resources Association has been around since 1971. So we've had a lot of young people come through and then mature and go on to become leaders within the organization. So we encourage you to get involved. You can become a member for free at the bronze level, and that has, some benefits to it. It lets you become aware of what we're doing. It lets you become part of a community. If you can pay just a little bit and become a silver member, you get a lot of benefits. One of them is to receive newsletters and updates through our mailing list, to join task forces and chapters as participants and as leaders, access the members-only content through our portal, gain access to our wonderful journal, Water International, which has a very high impact factor. You can gain voting privileges for our elections. You can run for election to our executive board, and we will be having elections next year, actually, because our boards serve for 3-year terms. You can lead and propose webinars and policy briefs, and you can promote your own activities through our network. So I think that I will stop there and just thank all of the speakers for giving us the benefit of your time and your energy. And I hope that you're going to come away from the World Water Congress just thrilled with your decision to focus on water. And I look forward to meeting all of you in Beijing.
Thanks so much, Renee, for that brief overview. I'm going to now turn the floor over to Amrisha. Amrisha is going to give us a little bit of a presentation on the Early Career Task Force that IWRA hosts. And just to give a little bit more about Amrisha and her background, she's an assistant professor at BML Munjal University in India. She is a public international law scholar with a specialization in international and environmental law and regulation of fresh water. She's also a lawyer in the Indian Bar Council. Amrisha, I'll hand the floor over to you to share about the task force.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you so much. Perfect. So I'm here to introduce Early Career and Young Professional Task Force. This task force is one of the task force of IWRA. Most of the young or early career professional are members of this task force, where we do several activities. I'm going to be highlighting some of the activities we have done in the past, and just to give you a flavor as to what we have done or what we are aiming to do in the coming years. Just an idea about the task force. All the members of the task force are free to take certain initiatives, and then we work together to make those initiatives work. Thanks to the organization, we get all the necessary support for running those projects or sub-themes in this task force. So here is a small idea for you to know. So these are the objectives of the task force. This task force is made with the objective to better understand the need of early and young career professionals in the water sector. One of the major concerns we have seen was how to know about the jobs in the sector and where to know where is there a common platform available where we can get most of the information on events happening. So we have introduced some newsletters, and there are many social media platforms, for example, Twitter, LinkedIn groups, and we do global networking cafes, and many other events keep happening once or twice a year. Some of them do happen 3 times a year. So all those events are introduced here. So we target and engage early career young professionals. We encourage them to join our task force, participate, and help us achieve our goal. And it's a collaborative effort. Nobody is leading. We all work together. We try to increase the early career and young professionals' involvement in the task force and largely in the IWRA as an organization. And there are many cross-cutting themes. For example, I just said there are many task force, and this is one of those task force. So membership to a task force is not exclusive. We work across the task force and in different themes to create and participate and largely to learn from each other. So task force structure, if you can see here. So we right now we have 4 prominent things ongoing under the umbrella of this task force, which is early career and young professional task force. We have a webinar series. We have conducted 3 to 4 webinars from this task force, and mainly we have chosen the topics of those webinars based on the input we have received from the members of the task force. So what they want to know. And then, of course, because of the availability of the speakers. Then we have a social media group. Social media group we have for awareness, for participation, and to extend the membership to everyone, to make us visible, basically. In outreach and partnership, we have Rasha. And Rasha has organized several global cafes and many networking events. This is one of the most sold out initiative of the group. Then we have Water Speaks. This is a podcast series where we have certain podcasts based on the theme. For example, this year for the upcoming months, the theme we have is importance of indigenous people in preserving our ecosystem and water resources, primarily focusing upon those indigenous involvement and enhancing the use of their activities. So encouraging natural solutions. That is the theme for the next few weeks or few months of the Water Speaks podcast event. These are some of the webinars which we had in the past. So transboundary water governance in the Arab world, the role of SDGs and the WASH initiatives in the water scarce world, then the nexus of law and water, recent developments in the rights of nature and ecocide, in collaboration with Water Security Task Force. And these had huge viewership. So mostly 150 and plus people have watched it online, so live, and rest of them have watched later on when the event has been recorded and put in the website. So these are widely popular. Now we have this join our publication mentorship initiative from IWRA. This is again to support early young career professionals in water sector by helping them by a mentor. So this is a second initiative. We had one previously. And in this initiative, what you are required to do is submit an application based on the theme of the writing or the template which has been given by the IWRA. And once you submit your application, it will be scrutinized. And some of the applications with the abstract and the idea of your paper will be selected, and you will be allotted a mentor, which will help you to enhance your ideas and make your writing publishable in a good quality journal. Primary objective is to get it published through Water International, which is one of the prestigious journals in this for water sector. So this is the second round of this initiative we have been seeing. And as far as I know, we have received welcoming number of applications, which is why it is taking a bit more time. Then we have outreach working group. This is a global networking cafe. So this is like a live event where we have Zoom small chat box or some sections made where people can interact with each other, and then later on they can think about having a Q&A or ask some initiatives, or they can make friends or get to know other people working in the field, and then later on they can think of working together. This is like a virtual cafe session where people meet and discuss about their initiatives or their interests. So global networking cafes brings together individuals and organizations. And one of the best thing about this is that we have done it interdisciplinary, where some experts have spoken about it and the other youth or the young people have participated in it. As a result of which we have been able to produce intergenerational dialogues, and that is published in one of our initiatives, which is this one, reflecting on water challenges of the past, present, and future, and intergenerational perspective. This publication has come out of the global cafes and the cross-sectoral discussion we could arrange. Now, as I have already given you the idea, this is the Water Speaks podcast session, and this is the QR code. If you are willing, you can just scan the QR code and it will take you to the previous podcast, and you will get all the information about Water Speaks. I think I'm running out of time, so I'll quickly wrap up. This is the IWRA membership structure, and we welcome people to please come and join us. You will enrich the organization and the learning will be mutual. Please do join the community and increase the membership of our task force. Thank you.
Thanks, Amrisha. That was a great outline of what you guys do, and it's very obvious you guys are active. And to those also in the webinar, I know several of them personally. I have met them at various events, and it's nice to go to these different events and have other young professionals in the field that you can kind of team with, and then also kind of be welcomed into the IWRA community. So thanks, Amrisha, for sharing all of your activities, and thank you for having so many for many of us to join. Renee?
Hi, I'm also a member of the IWRA board and its governing committee, and so I'm very involved in IWRA. And I just want to say the Early Career and Young Professionals Task Force is amazingly active, and it's such a wonderful community. And so, Amrisha, I just want to thank you and all the leaders and all the participants of that task force. And I encourage anyone listening to get involved, because I mean the scope of your activities is incredible, and it's just so meaningful too. So thank you for everything that you do.
Thanks, Amrisha, again. And I was actually going to share about as an early career professional myself about my experience at the Congress from a few years back, and just so you guys all have a little bit of a taste, and how an event that the one that IWRA is putting on, how you guys can take advantage of it and how it might even launch your career. So I just wanted to share a brief story, but in I think it was 2017, there was a Congress in Cancun. And if I got the date right, Mary or Renee, please correct me. But that was my first World Water Congress. I came there straight out of grad school, and I joined as a rapporteur, and I joined many sessions, and I took lots of notes, and I wrote lots of summaries, but I also networked with several people in the international development community, in water resources, professors, nonprofits, companies. And it was actually there at the Congress that I first met the organization that I would later, I didn't know this, would become the president of, and that was the World Youth Parliament for Water. There was other colleagues from that group, and there was also colleagues from other youth networks. I think the Water Youth Network was there. And it was just such a great opportunity for me to kind of find my inner water nerd and associate and find other young professionals that were passionate about the same thing that I was kind of feeling like a kid in a candy shop because I had this passion for water, and I was in this water management and hydrological science program, and I just wanted to eat everything water, if you will, drink everything out of the fire hose. And this was kind of like icing on the cake for me. And it was actually at that Congress where I was introduced to the organization, the World Youth Parliament for Water. And later I actually had joined as a member, and then later fell into leadership, the president of the World Youth Parliament for Water. And that led my career into a whole nother trajectory where I kind of was leading different advocacy for youth in the water space and making sure that young people were heard at the international level of discussions and debates on water, on the water agenda. And not only that, but I also found that IWRA became a home for me. A lot of these conferences around the world, you meet different organizations, you meet different faces, but I always found myself, even with my other associations, I always found myself kind of nestled or always being magnetized to IWRA. And that was because of the staff there, Colin, Ignacio, Renee, Mary, just familiar faces of the organization. And they've kind of been a little bit like a home for me as I've kind of found my way in my career. And I wanted to share that because you never know who you might meet or who you might find. And for a lot of us here, in this webinar, IWRA has kind of become a home, if you will, where we found mentorship, and it's been a platform to kind of launch our career. And just so grateful for that experience and where my career has taken me. So thank you, IWRA, as I lead this webinar. And with that, we're also going to share that there are several presentations at the actual Congress, sessions at the Congress that are youth-led and youth-focused. So I'm just going to take a quick minute. I have a slide, and for all those here, we will share our presentation, so you'll have access to this information. Perfect. Yeah, so there's 5 main sessions. I've added them here by the day. So those who are attending the Congress, please put these on your calendar of events. The first one is Essentialization of Youth Initiatives and Digitalizing and Circular Water Sustainability. We also have Microplastics, Pollution in Asian Water Systems, which is the organizers of a youth organization. The role of young professionals in achieving carbon neutrality by 2050. Engaging young professionals for gender mainstreaming in the water sector, and towards advancing in the nature-based solutions sector by our very own early career task force. So adding this slide for you to take note. I will add this slide in the notes section for our webinar once we publish and post the recording and the summary, but wanted you guys to take a minute to jot those down so you can attend with us.
Lindsay, there's a question in the chat about whether any of those sessions will be hybrid. I'm guessing they will not be, but is that correct?
I believe they will not be. Yeah. Thank you for that question. All right. I am going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to give the floor over to Mr. Azrael, who is actually leading one of these sessions, and he will give us just a brief presentation of kind of the actual session that will be taking place at the Congress. And so Mr. Azrael is the chairman of the Indonesian Green Action Forum, and he's a young professional in the Asia Water Council. He is currently also pursuing a bachelor's degree in applied meteorology at IPB University. Azrael, you have the floor.
First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Lindsay for introducing me to the audience. I am delighted to be in front of you all in this very important webinar session. On this occasion, I will present the centralization of youth initiative in digitalizing and circulating water sustainability. We will explore the important role of young people in facing water challenge towards a sustainability future. This theme is relevant given the complexity of water issues in today's world and the immense potential that young people have to bring about a positive change. Implementing the concept of digitization and circulation in the water section is critical to achieving the goals of 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. The call to action to implement this initiative in the water section is becoming increasingly urgent. In this context, young people play an irreplaceable central role with around 1.2 billion people aged 15 to 24, as recognized by the United Nations. The enthusiasm and innovation of young people is a source of energy for transformations. In supporting the SDGs for 2030, the role of young people become even more vital in paving the way to sustainability. They are poised to become the water leaders of tomorrow, capable of turning challenge into opportunities and fostering resilience, dynamic, and inclusive dimension. Young people have proven the important role in the transformation of the water sector. Through initiatives have proven focus on digitalization and circulating economy. They have driven practically measures to sustainability safeguards and water resources. Young people's specific concern on water issues and prioritize strategic are important to focus. For a campaign to this concept, Indonesian Green Action Forum is collaborating with Asian Water Council Young Professional and Water Council Youth Delegates to propose a special session titled Centralization of Youth Initiative in Digitalizing and Circulating Water Sustainability. The event will be a platform for various stakeholders, especially youths, to share best practice from initiative knowledge and data on youth priorities or strategy related to water. We are all aware that water challenges are increasingly complex, especially with rapid population growth and urbanization. The importance of intergenerational of collaborating will be also discussed in this session. We believe that centralizing youth efforts and cross-generational partnerships are key to achieve sustainability development goals. Youth will be the successor of the struggle in maintaining clean water and a healthy environment. The continuity of this special session will be held on September 11th, 2023 at the 18th World Water Congress, Beijing in China. We are pleased to announce our distinguished speakers, including Ms. Siti Mustaqimatut, as a scientist representing the Economic Research Institute for Asian and East Asia, Mr. Shaun Shih, a senior engineer representing UN Environment, Southeast Asian Youth Environment Network, Mr. Neil Andika, as a researcher for Ministry of Public Works and Housing of the Republic of Indonesia and Gajah Mada University, Dr. Luca Jendrik as a youth delegate of the World Water Council Secretariat, and Dr. IWRA, a science program specialist, along with Prof. Shahbaz Khan from UNESCO, will provide the opening remarks at our event. So don't miss out to this opportunity to collaborate and contribute to innovative a solution for a more sustainability future for water. Join us in the special session on September 11, 2023. For future information about the 18th World Water Congress and our special session, please visit the worldwatercongress.com/schedule, or you can contact me at this email. In conclusion, let's together turn our initiative and ideas into tangible actions. Let's shape a more sustainability and better future for all of us. Thank you for your attention. Let's work together to safeguard water and our environment for the generation to come.
Thanks so much, Ezra, for your presentation. I'm myself looking forward to join you guys in Beijing for this one. And now I'm going to turn the floor over to Mary, who's going to share a little bit about our rapporteurs who will be at the Congress. Mary is currently the IWRA Interim Executive Director at IWRA, as well as Project Officer. She has published scientific research on hydrology, water infrastructure, and associations of land use change and biodiversity. She also lectures at the undergraduate and graduate levels at the University of Ottawa, and she is the author of a children's book that just recently came out called A Tale of Two Planets. Mary, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Yeah, and welcome to everybody joining us. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the role of rapporteurs. And I've chosen this format because this is the slide presentation format that will be used at the World Water Congress. For some reason, it's a really big a big file for 3 slides, but it doesn't seem to be any problems. So the role of the rapporteurs is actually really important. The backbone of a successful Congress is based on communicating and reporting out what went on, and really that's what the rapporteurs do. They attend the various presentations, and as the frontline rapporteurs, they record the key messages and they summarize sessions. There's also a role, a group of rapporteurs who have an editorial and summarizing role, where they review the reports from the frontline rapporteurs and they edit them, and they also develop summaries by theme. So as Renee mentioned, there are 6 themes, sub-themes for the World Water Congress next month. So that's part of the role of the rapporteurs as well. And then there's a group that interact to make sure that a newsletter goes out every day. So first thing the following day during the Congress, there's a newsletter summarizing what went on during the previous day. And the rapporteurs, again, play a key role there. And there's a smaller group that also provides some supervisory and logistics assistance, because there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of simultaneous sessions, and it does take some coordination. So the agreement with rapporteurs is registration is free. And that includes any meals that are included with registration. Usually there's a gala dinner, that kind of thing. In addition to 1 year of membership with as a silver member of the IWRA. And so as Amrisha and Renee have mentioned, silver membership gives you access to participate on task forces and access to Water International Journal. There's a certificate of participation, and it's really good experience on the resume. So in exchange for reporting on 2 to 3 sessions per day, or the editing or newsletter roles, rapporteurs do pay for their own accommodation to the World Water Congress, but as Lindsay has outlined, it can be just such a super opportunity for networking, for meeting other people, in your same situation, but also potential mentors and employers. There's a number of tools in terms of reporting. So a template, for example, for reporting. Rapporteurs aren't left just to try and summarize on their own. There's a process for reporting, accessing files, and of course teamwork. Maybe sometimes that's not thought of as a tool, but it's certainly a really important part of working within the Congress. So we have, I don't have access to the attendee list, but if you are one of the rapporteurs next month and you're at this webinar, please drop a line in the chat and say hello. Amrisha, we've heard from, she hopefully will be able to obtain her visa and attend. There is some recruitment going on if you're attending this webinar from Beijing or somewhere in China and you're interested in being a rapporteur. Again, drop that in the chat and we'll get you the link so that you can send your information. And there will be the 19th World Water Congress in Durban, South Africa, and there will be a call for rapporteurs next year sometime. There's a screening process, but Certainly, I would like to encourage you, if this appeals at all, to consider a future role in a future Congress as a rapporteur. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary, for sharing. I want to take a minute, and we have a poll just to kind of take a short little minute to answer and gauge kind of what your interest is in, if you guys are attending, to understand if you guys are attending the Congress and or have plans to attend in the future. We want to just ask you a few questions. So I'm going to launch this and see what happens. So the first question is, let me know if you guys can see it, but the first question is, if you, in regards to attending the Congress, we want to know if you guys are planning to attend, if we can see you there, if you're planning to attend but are still in the process of getting your documents and kind of all the fun visa stuff, or if you maybe have intentions to attend the following year. We'd love to hear. And then, yeah, share with us a little about what you're hoping to, if not halfway, got in the webinar. Just give a quick minute. Some of them are a little more coming in. It looks like we have about 64%, a lot of people who are hoping to attend next time around. Let's see what our results are. Do you guys see the results? Yeah, great. Yeah, it says we have about 18% who have registered to attend to the Congress, around 10% that are in the process of getting their visa. I know I'm going to go pick up my visa today. Hopefully I will get it. And another 64% are hoping to attend us next year. And for this webinar, it looks like we have about 50% that are still learning about IWRA and the Congress. That's great. I hope you guys are learning the different initiatives that you can join in on or have opportunities in the future. And great, we have people who are also wanting to connect with other professionals. Feel free, again, to use the chat box to connect and share your information, to connect offline. And yeah, thanks for filling out the poll. Our next segment is on our World Water Envoys that will be present at the Congress. This group, we have four joining us today, and they're going to share about their role at the Congress and kind of what they're expecting to bring home with them. And this program is really meant, and correct me, Kate, if I'm wrong, as you take the floor right after me, is meant to have young professionals join and then take information, knowledge, experience, their network, and bring it back to their work experience and their communities back home. So I will first introduce all of our four speakers, and in the order they'll present. So Kate Hawley is with us, and she is a area operations manager for the Forest Commission in the UK. She is a senior manager for the UK government, leading on woodland operations and the department that leads on forestry. We also have with us a Trey One, who is a monitoring evaluation and learning officer. He's also a part of the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative of the Mekong program. He is our World Water Envoy from Vietnam. Trey is also the leader of Vietnam Youth Parliament and a member of the Vietnam Youth Policy Working Group on climate change issues. Also with us is Audi from South Africa. She is a scientist in the Ministry of Water and Sanitation in South Africa. And she is a professional earth scientist and has been involved in research for development contributing to solving groundwater problems in Southern Africa. She's also the chairperson of the Gauteng branch of the Groundwater Division in South Africa, and has also served as a scientific program committee at Seaweed's World Water Week. She is also a future elect public service fellow. And last but not least is Moemin Sob, who is the founder and CEO of Besindler. He is joining from Egypt. He's also a senior student majoring in architecture, engineering, and environmental design. Moemin is the CEO of Besindler, an award-winning startup that focuses on ocean resilience and conservation. So we'll start with you, Kate.
Thanks so much, Lindsay. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah, great. Okay, no, well, thanks so much for that introduction. And I'm really excited to be speaking to you today and also to go to the Congress as one of the World Water Envoys, like Lindsay says. So yeah, just to give a little bit more information. So myself and the 3 others that are attending, we've been chosen from a number of young people around the world to come to the Congress with a pressing water issue that's affecting us in our own communities, and we can bring any innovative solutions that we are employing to solve that water issue to the Congress, where we're hoping to share best practice, get some experience and advice from other people from other countries around the world who are doing something similar, and also just to make those connections. So I'm coming from the United Kingdom. I'm actually the only envoy from Europe, so very excited to sort of represent that part of the world at the Congress. And as Lindsay said in my introduction, I'm actually not what I would class as a water professional. I work in the forestry and woodland sector. So in my country, in the United Kingdom, we have an extensive government department that deals with woodlands and trees. Coming from a temperate climate, trees and woodland are kind of the natural way that Britain would be if we just left it to its own devices. And so I work extensively in woodland creation and also looking at existing woodland that we have and how to manage that better. But how is this related to water, you might be asking yourself, and the question is a valid one. The answer is flooding. We really struggle in the United Kingdom with flooding, as I know do many other countries around the world. We have lots and lots of rain, and it causes millions and millions, if not billions of pounds in some parts of the country in terms of real issues in our cities. And we employ a huge amount of people in our government who work extensively in flood risk and flood risk management, but much of that sits in sort of general traditional engineering. And we have just started really in the United Kingdom to look at nature-based solutions for flooding. And of course, much of that sits in forestry and woodland creation. And so what I'm going to be talking about at the Congress, which I'm really excited to go to, is all about some of the steps that my department have taken to help mitigate downstream flood risk. And that's around things like woodland creation, just generic woodland creation, but then also the use of things like woody debris dams, where we've put those in some of our rivers upstream, which is basically just felling a whole load of trees and putting them right in the river, to look at ways we can slow the flow, how we can keep water in the landscape for longer so that it doesn't ultimately just end up flooding our cities and causing huge economic damage. So I'm really excited to talk about some of that, and also to talk with people in Beijing about what they're doing. Very excited to speak to some of the Chinese delegation about sponge cities and how they're using nature-based solutions in China. But if you're coming to the Congress, I would love to speak to you about any of those nature-based solutions that you might be employing. And especially if you too perhaps specialize not specifically in water, but in one of these really key subjects that is peripheral to water, but that is really, really important. And I'm realizing now, and we're certainly realizing in the United Kingdom, that it's that dialogue and relationship between people who are hydrologists, water professionals, and then people like myself who work out in the landscape in countryside management. And that is the solution to how we are going to ultimately move to a better place in terms of water storage and flooding. And very quickly, because I realize I'm on a time from Lindsay, you might be interested yourself in perhaps joining the Congress as an envoy. And just to let you know that we'll be opening applications for it next year. It's a relatively competitive process because that you do get your travel covered to come to the Congress. You are sort of a sponsored individual. But I'd really encourage you, if you have a pressing water issue in your own country, in your own community, and you're involved in trying to solve that, or you're involved in that really important dialogue that might be going on in terms of how that can be solved, how you can improve that situation, I'd really encourage you to apply, because IWRA are really committed to finding really different individuals who are working in different parts of water to really make this Congress a multifaceted and interesting discussion that will be happening with young people. So if you're interested, please do look out for that call, which will be coming later in 2024. So sort of this time next year, or kind of closer to Christmas next year. But that's it from me, really. I'm really excited to attend. And so if you're coming to Beijing, please look out for me. Come along to the special session that we're running, and the Water Envoys are running, where you'll find out all more about what we're talking about, but also grab me in the break, because I'd love to connect with you. I'd love to speak with you about your experiences and come away from Beijing feeling like I've got a really good network of individuals, especially young people starting out their careers, because we're all in the same boat in that sense. And I think a lot of it is about really making the most of those connections. So yeah, thanks so much. And then I'm going to move on to the next individual, who I think is Tra. So I think it's Tra next. So yeah, thanks so much, everyone, and see you in Beijing, hopefully.
Thank you, Kate. It's wonderful introduction to the Envoy programs. And yeah, hi everyone. My name is Tra Wins, and I'm from Vietnam. I'm one of the 4 envoys joining to the Road to Beijing this year. And yeah, I'm also the representative of Vietnam and the Mekong Delta, and also the only envoy from Asia this year joining the Congress. So a little bit about my background. I'm also not a water professional like Kate, but actually I'm working more on the climate actions and climate change issues. And also I'm working in the Mekong Delta, Vietnam, one of the most vulnerable areas in the world, at the risk of submersions and also sea level rising due to climate change. And water is a kind of like key sector, and also regulating the whole areas, which is the largest delta of Vietnam. And this year, bringing to the Congress, Beijing, I would like to bring some of my studies and also nature-based solution initiatives related to mangrove forest plantation. One of the initiatives that to mitigate and also adapt the area to the risk of climate change, and also listen to different expert audiences and different point of view from different countries and representative experts about the water issue and how to adapt the areas, not only in Vietnam, but all over the world to the risk of climate change. Furthermore, I also joined the water security and climate change adaptation special sessions with the team this year is focusing on the making water decisions for climate change adaptations. For these sessions, I'm going to talk about how the climate climate bulletins initiative in Vietnam, from the national to local levels, is helping the local farmers in the areas to kind of like forecast on the water issue, and also shortages of water in the dry seasons, and also the flooding in the wet seasons, and also a mitigation of the saltwater intrusions in the areas. So I would love to bring this story to the Congress, and hopefully it's those who joining with us to the Congress this year, please join the special envoy session and also the water security and climate change adaptation session, so I can bring the discussion with you guys and we can talk further. While the rest of everyone's in the webinar today who's not joining the Congress this year, please do follow with all of the future webinars programs of IWRA and also our envoys activities during the time from now until the next Congress. And hopefully in the next Congress, we can see you as the rapporteur, as the envoys or expert in the field. Thank you very much. And I will hand it over to Odai. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tra, and a lovely good afternoon from me here in South Africa. My name is Odai Khomuma, and I'm one of the Water Envoys. So how did I get into water sector? I'll start off with a bit of background about myself. I used to be a rock star. I'm kidding. I used to be a hardcore geologist working for a large platinum mining company. And while I was doing my work there, I was kind of bothered by the surrounding communities in those remote areas that had a lot of struggles with water. And because it's very dry in those areas, they mostly relied on groundwater, and not all of them could have access to facilities to drill boreholes. And looking at the South African context, boreholes are not hand dug because you deal with a lot of hard rock. So it's quite expensive to drill a borehole to access the groundwater. So that then led me to a career into being a hydrogeologist, not too far from geology, but now dealing with groundwater. And then I worked in that field, in the mining industry particularly, but I was still not satisfied. I wanted to serve my country and my people. So that has then led me to a career now, or place of work now at the Ministry of Water and Sanitation at the Republic of South Africa, where I'm involved in integrated water resources development, and with a particular focus on groundwater. And mostly because groundwater is the unseen resource that most of my country or the Southern African region relies on, but it's often left out and forgotten, even though people rely so heavily on it. And this is mostly because we hardly see it, and it's kind of difficult for everybody to visualize what's happening underground. So I'm calling attention to groundwater at the IWRA Congress with a special focus on community-led groundwater management. And this is because groundwater occurs at a local scale, and this also provides communities that lie on the periphery of our piped water system to access water, even though they are not within that piped water infrastructure. It gives them access to basic water for the economic activities, agriculture, and even the basic water needs. So I'm looking forward to meeting everyone at the Congress, connecting, and also expanding my networks and potential partners that can give me insights on what they are doing in their countries with regards to groundwater management, particularly community-led groundwater management, and if there's some of the tools or takeaways that I can bring to South Africa or Southern Africa that we can adapt and use to better manage our groundwater resources, and also collect that necessary data that we need that will enable us to manage our very precious resource below the ground. So yes, I'll be calling attention to groundwater at the Congress. I'm super excited, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much, Tra. Who's next?
Thanks, Saudi, so much. Yeah, Mohammed, you're next.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I had to run back home because of the power cutoff. So I did a little bit of exercising before I come. So I'm so sorry because I have like a little shortcut. But hi everyone. My name is Mohammed. I'm 23 years old and I'm from Port Said, Egypt. I'm so honored to be joining this World Water Congress this year alongside the amazing envoys. It's just very rewarding, and within the past couple of months, like meeting them and get to know their own stories, getting to know the board of IWRA and working with them, it was just very rewarding. So this is just a shout out for all of them before I start. So I come from a city that is called Port Said, which is in Egypt. It's a coastal city, one of the best cities. I'm not biased because I'm from there, but it's amazing. We have the Mediterranean Sea, the Suez Canal, and the Manzara Lake. And within all of these amazing water sources, my background and my family are actually all fishermen. So this is part of who I am, and this is part of my culture and heritage. But because of climate change, we've lost our heritage and culture, and it saddens me that a lot of upcoming generations will never get to experience this. According to the UNICEF, and I usually love to say this fact, every single presentation I say it, according to the UNICEF, Egypt is going through a water defect of 7 billion cubic meters, and the country will run out of water by 2025. So this is a wake-up call for all of the youth, everyone across the regions, to just focus on how they can preserve and save our water sources. And this is when I started my project that is called Visionleer, which is a multiple disciplinary project that works on different pillars. But our main focus is actually to save and restore our environment and to save our water sources that we need most. And this is when I knew that I had to apply for the IWRA, the World Water Congress, for this year. I've seen and read like the past envoys and how they actually did impact their communities, how they're pioneers when it comes to the water issues, and how they're saving and becoming the ones that needs to save their communities. And even talking with Tra, Kate, Udai, they're all pioneers when it comes to saving their communities. They're all doing a fantastic job. So this is one of the things that actually led me to start and become one of the envoys. And I really cherish the point that I'm one of them. And what I'm really aiming for this Congress is to meet all of these amazing decision makers, policy makers, the scientists, and of course the entrepreneurs who are the reason why we're here right now. And they are the reason why we're taking action. So a lot of communities and a lot of marginalized communities does have entrepreneurs that needs to show their work and to know how they can take a systematic approach when it comes to saving their communities. So one of the things that I'm really looking forward for this Congress is meeting with all the experts. I get to see their insights and how we can actually save our communities and how we can support small startups from all over the world to save their communities as well. So thank you so much, everyone. And I'm so sorry, I had like a very short breath, but I managed to be here in time. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate hearing your guys' stories and just the things that make you passionate about water in your communities. It's moving for me. And Mohammed, I don't think anybody would have known you were on a run if you didn't say anything. Great. So I am going to give the floor to our World Water Envoys that have actually already had an experience with IWRA. We have Pallavi and Maria, and I'll briefly introduce them, and I'll let them share a little bit about their stories, them attending the Congress, and then coming back and implementing those ideas. And so we have with us, first we have Pallavi. She again was a World Water Envoy in 2021. She's a climate researcher with the University of Wyoming and is a future climate leader with the Aspen Climate Institute. She is from Nepal and is a second-year graduate student and a research assistant at the Climate Adaptation Lab at the University of Wyoming. She also serves as a member of the Early Career and Young Professional Task Force. And we also have with us Maria Almonte, again, another 2021 World Water Envoy. She is associated with the National Association of Sanitary and Environmental Engineering. She's a civil engineer from the Dominican Republic and participated as a World Water Envoy again in 2021, sharing the situation of the Guajima contaminated stream in the Santo Domingo. I'm sure she'll share more about that experience. And she is currently pursuing a master's degree in sanitary engineering at the Regional School of Sanitary Engineering and Water Resources in Guatemala. Pallavi, I'll give you the floor.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good morning from my end. I'm pretty sure we're on very different time zones. Yeah, like that was a really good introduction, by the way. So I would just start by saying that I was the ex-envoy, and the envoy experience was great to me. I'm from Nepal, and I had brought the problem of groundwater contamination in my community. I had done this project as my undergraduate thesis, and it was just more than my thesis because I started working with the local government at one point to just find out what the issues are and how it can be mitigated. I reached out as an individual to local government, but they were not ready to do anything because a person coming to you knocking at the door saying there's a problem is not quite enough for them. They need, I don't know, resources probably. But this was where my envoy intervention came in. I was starting to look at any sort of grants, sort of programs I could speak up to, sort of collaboration, so that I could, you know, myself work on the problem. And then the issue was mainly with the fecal contamination, so I had to make sure that this issue was kind of resolved, or at least put forth in documents so that people could take action. So what the World Water Envoy program did to me was I would say we got lucky that COVID happened and it was shifted, so that we got so much time with our mentors and so much time to actually do back and forth communication. And that really helped me to foster dialogues and to get more in touch with people from the Congress. And then when I went there, I got to talk with a lot of people, network with a lot of people. My team itself, 5 of us, were created a really good bond. So that really helped me. And also my mentor, I was given a mentor who had worked in Nepal in this organization called AC Mode, and he had been supporting me in many ways, recommending me to many people, and that kind of took the momentum. And then I came back from the Congress, and I was fortunate enough to have like support from a lot of people. I had kind of submitted a publication for the Water International news, so that also helped me to have like a document of whatever I did and how I'm going to proceed further. And after I came back, I did like a community meeting by bringing a lot of stakeholders, which was really hard. And after making everybody agree upon to sit on a table, everybody agreed at least to have like standards for water and not to distribute water if they don't meet the standards, which I think was an achievement for me looking back that I did after I came back from the Congress. Yeah, I would say take the Congress very seriously, take the Envoy program as a great opportunity, because after the Envoy program, we were also invited to World Water Forum, and we got lucky. We could go to Senegal, and then we could network with people. And, you know, just foster dialogues and create more connections. And when I came back from Senegal again, I decided to, you know, just apply for a grant and do something in Nepal. I'd already come to US, become a researcher and all that. I'm still a researcher working in a water project, but in June I went back to Nepal, and this kind of connection from IWRA's Envoy program led me to go back to Nepal and do a project, a small project among farmers in Nepal, to just, you know, train them on the water issues and understand like a rainwater harvesting and all that. So I also was a rapporteur, and that was a great experience for me. I got some good compliments from people about like, you know, putting the word out and being very good at it. So that boosted my confidence into note taking and writing, which has helped me so far. So yeah, I would say looking back, the Envoy program would have just been one program for the IWRA conference, but for me, it literally shaped my career direction. So if you were to really take this path in your life, you should take it as a huge opportunity to go further in your life and just start to think about how you can use this network, this platform to, you know, just scale up your problems and scale up the solutions, how you can best use the networks, how you can best connect. Yeah. I think I've mentioned everything, and one thing that I would focus on is mentorship. Like if you've been assigned a mentor, I was assigned a mentor, and you won't believe me, he did everything to recommend me to a good university. He did everything he could to put the word out for me. He would provide me opportunities. He would tell me to look at these places and everything, and that really helped me. And it was not just about professional relation. To this point, I can just call him on WhatsApp, and I still do at some, you know, whenever I get time. So you need to understand how important mentorship is, and IWRA gives you the best mentors. So I would tell you to just go above and beyond and make sure that you solve your problem, but at the same time, try to build yourself too. Thank you.
Thanks, Pallavi. And I echo the importance of mentorship. So if there's any other senior leaders on here, think about being a mentor to many of these young professionals here. Maria, we'd love to hear from you.
Hello, everyone. I hope that my internet doesn't fall now. I think that I agree with Pallavi. In my experience, it was great from since the beginning of applying to this program. It was based more. I was new in my community when I applied for the Water Envoys, and it was very interesting to see the contamination that was very near to the city, and how this contamination affected the people around with diseases and increasing poverty in that place. That's what I shared and to apply for the program, and thank God I was selected. And just the fact to moving so far from home to a total different country, to see a total different country with it opens your mind and increase your boundaries. Like you see how things could be in your country, how far you can imagine, and how far your country and develop can grow, and you aspire to that. So that was something that opened my mind and pushed me forward to get more involved, to prepare myself to contribute to my country and to embrace these challenges. In the event, it was amazing, the networking that you develop and the skills that you develop, meeting new people, meeting researchers, professionals in the water sector. It gives you skills to connect, to talk. Even sometimes we get shy, and as young professional, you don't know exactly how to approach people, and that is something that you develop at these events, and the huge opportunities that these events brings you. Because after that, as Pallavi said, we were invited to participate in the World Water Forum in Senegal, which was great. If World Water Congress is big, imagine the forum. It was huge, and it was very interesting to see the representation of the IWRA in the forum also. And it was very interesting also to see the participation of one of the director in the Hydraulic Institute in the Dominican Republic. He was there in Senegal, and we met there. I was happy to see that I wasn't the only Dominican in the event. So we spoke, we shared contacts, and I was able to share back in the Dominican Republic my experience in both events through their radio channels. Also, I had the opportunity to share my experience in the Institute magazine for young professionals. And that is something very important for us in countries like mine, to inspire people, young professionals, to open their minds and to see more outside our countries, to bring back to our countries. So that is something that was meaningful for me to share my experience. And obviously this opened more doors. After that, I applied for a scholarship to do my master's degree, which I'm pursuing now in sanitary engineering in the Regional School of Sanitary Engineering and Water Resources in Guatemala. It's very interesting because of the challenges that we are seeing here. we can apply it to the whole region. And that is something very important, just not study something, but something that is related to the challenges that are facing now in your community. So, and this is a research, a master is focused on research. So right now I'm intending to do my research in the implementation, evaluation of the effect, the removal salt and the removal
Her internet might have paused. We'll see if she comes back, but that was a great, I was really wanting to hear the end of that statement. She was captivating my attention. We'll see if she comes back, but we actually now we have about quite a bit of time for Q&A. I know most of the Q&A has been answered, but Leonor, maybe we could go over the questions that have been asked and share some of those answers with the audience more widely.
Hi, Lindsay. Thanks. Yeah, we've answered all the questions already, so there's not much. But I encourage the audience, for those that are still on the webinar, to please submit your questions via the Q&A. But I can quickly run through some of the questions that were asked. So there was a question about how students can attend the Congress. So unfortunately, there aren't any more sponsorship options for this year's Congress. I mean, it's in a few weeks. And usually it depends on the host, but at the moment, from IWRA side, like Mary and Lindsay mentioned, there's the Envoy program. So with that, travel and accommodation are covered. There's the Rapporteur program, which offers free registration, but we encourage you to try and register and attend on your own. I know there's some universities that do offer sponsorships. It's just a matter of investigating. What else do we have? And then will any of the sessions be hybrid? So unfortunately, not this time. The only sessions that will be recorded are the high-level sessions, the opening and closing ceremony. So we usually upload those on our platforms, so our website. You can find those there. And then there was a question about whether students could attend or Indonesian students could attend special sessions without having to pay for for the registration fee. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So if you'd like to attend one session, you do have to register for the entire Congress. There aren't any more questions. So if perhaps I can ask a question to the current envoys. So what's your biggest fear and your greatest excitement for this Congress? Maybe what are you most excited for and what are you most frightened by? Who would like to try? I see a moment. Would any of you like to answer the question?
Yeah, sure. I think one of the biggest excitements would be meeting all of the amazing young envoys and meeting you all in person. So this is one of the most exciting things, as well as actually attending a few sessions. It's really rewarding and it's very exciting as well. So this is one of the most exciting parts. And of course, exploring Beijing with everyone. So this is also one thing to look forward for. I wouldn't say this is kind of a fear, but it will be a challenge to follow up with all the amazing sessions that are happening, because like there are a lot of sessions that are happening everywhere at the same time. And this is like one of the challenges, is that they're all amazing, so you have to attend and pick and choose like a few. But honestly, it's just beautiful. So this is one of the things that we're looking forward to most.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Moment. I see Maria has joined us again. So before we continue, we can just give her some time to finish her. Maria?
Yeah, thank you. I just a little bit scared to break again. Just be sure, take this opportunity, the most of it. Don't be shy, like ask questions, share with people, talk with people, try to do networking and be open to other opportunities that will bring you, because I'm pretty sure that it will. And that's it.
Thanks everybody for joining us today. I hope you all felt enlightened and just have been able to identify even opportunities within IWRA to join, or seeing opportunities for next year for the World Water Envoys or Rapporteurs. I personally really enjoyed hearing all of your stories, and I'm really grateful to get to see you in Beijing. And for those tuning in, we will have the recording of this webinar posted on our IWRA website on our events and webinars tab. The full recording will be posted in about a week's time, as well as a summary. And we'll also upload all of the presentations presented here. So you'll have access to those. Also, make sure you check out our website and look at membership opportunities. There's different levels and tiers of membership, so please look there. Feel free to also follow us on our social media, specifically on LinkedIn. We post lots of updates, and I think there'll be lots of updates with the Congress. Leonor now is adding some great links for you to follow. And with all of that, I just want to thank you again to each of our speakers who joined us, our envoys, Mary, Renee, Amrisha, and all of the envoys and rapporteurs. Thank you so much for joining us. And that will be the conclusion of our webinar. Thank you so much.